Cambodia. Its lush green landscape reflects a country rich in natural resources and human potential. But in recent years, there's been a dramatic shift in seasonal weather patterns. Climate change has begun to affect Cambodia's ability to feed its growing population, and it threatens to undo years of development progress. Among the countries affected by climate change, Cambodia ranks in the world's top 10. Most of its people live in rural areas, and they're overwhelmingly engaged in agriculture. But there's only limited infrastructure to mitigate the impacts of extreme weather, and nearly 50% of households and almost half the country's communes have been identified as being vulnerable to climate change. Cambodia has developed rapidly over the past decade. There have been major boosts to domestic consumption, tourism, agriculture, and foreign direct investment. These gains have measurably improved the lives of many of Cambodia's 14 million people. But despite this economic progress, there's a storm on the horizon. Cambodia faces big challenges in adapting to and mitigating the impacts of climate change. In the last 3 years alone, severe flooding has killed more than 400 and displaced many thousands more, most of them poor. Tens of thousands of hectares of rice paddy were destroyed. Prolonged periods of drought have added to Cambodia's problems. The country has been ill-equipped to deal with crop failures and food shortages which have followed. This village has never had a connection to the national electricity grid, but now its time to get power has come. The scheme is another part of the Cambodia Community-Based Adaptation Programme's remit. It aims to increase the ability of targeted communities to manage the risks of climate change. The majority of Cambodia's population rely on agriculture to earn a living. Farmers depend on water and electricity to yield sustainable harvests. When there's a problem with energy or water supplies, that hits rural communities hard. It damages productivity, affecting both normal development issues and agricultural activities. The programme's response is to develop solutions adapted to the Cambodian context and reduce the cost of providing electricity to farmers. Here in Por village in Kampong Chhnang, the programme has installed solar panels in 2 mini substations. This power source recharges car batteries, providing a rudimentary supply of electricity. The solar panels have had a significant impact on the community's carbon dioxide emissions by lessening their reliance on gasoline and diesel to generate electricity. And car batteries that might have been discarded much sooner now have a longer life. Each solar station has the capacity to recharge up to 50 batteries a day. In theory, that's enough power to provide the average family with electricity for a year. Using renewable energy sources in this way may seem a relatively small step, but a lack of electricity has been keeping the farming-based community in the dark. Now, the people have rallied round a practical and environmentally friendly resource.
ក្នុងការរស់នៅដូចជាក្នុងគ្រួសារនាងខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ហើយនឹងប្រជាជនផ្ទាល់គឺមានការលំបាកអត់ភ្លើងទៀនហើយនឹងអត់ចង្កៀងប្រេងកាតគឺថាវាល្ងឹតការពីដើមខ្ញុំបញ្ចូលម៉ាស៊ីនហ្នឹងគឺថាវាមានតម្លៃថ្លៃខ្ពស់ជាងដល់ពេលកាលណាបានកញ្ចក់សូឡាហ្នឹងតម្លៃវាថោកជាងគេបញ្ចូលម៉ាស៊ីនពេលណាឃើញប្រជាជនយកអង្គុយមកច្រើនអញ្ចឹងគឺថាខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍រំភើបសប្បាយ
Families hosting the solar panels have been able to boost their own income dramatically, as 2/5 of the recharging fee goes to the supplier. The model has been a great success, and there are plans to extend the scheme to other villages which don't have a regular electricity supply. 42-year-old Mom Sambat, through his NGO Local Capacity Builder, pioneered the scheme with the support of the UNDP. Now it's set to spread to a number of electricity-deficient communities across Kampong Chhnang.
បាទដោយសារបច្ចុប្បន្ន ពិភពលោកក៏កំពុងតែព្រួយបារម្ភទាក់ទងទៅនឹងការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុហើយប្រទេសមួយចំនួនក៏កំពុងរងគ្រោះយ៉ាងធ្ងន់ធ្ងរដោយសារគ្រោះធម្មជាតិហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងអានេះវាជាផលប៉ះពាល់នៃការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុដូច្នេះអង្គការនៃកសាងសមត្ថភាពក៏បានចូលរួមចំណែកក្នុងការបន្សំខ្លួនទៅដល់ការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុយើងធ្វើតាមរយៈការផ្សព្វផ្សាយឲ្យប្រជាពលរដ្ឋនឹងមានការយល់ដឹងពីវិធានការការពារខ្លួនរៀបចំខ្លួនដើម្បីសុវត្ថិភាពក្នុងការរស់នៅហើយចូលរួមចំណែកកាត់បន្ថយទៅលើការប្រើប្រាស់ថាមពលជាដើមដូច្នេះហើយបានជាកម្មវិធីយើងបានធ្វើគម្រោងដោយថាមពលពលឺព្រះអាទិត្យក៏ជាផ្នែកមួយនៃការកាត់បន្ថយផលប៉ះពាល់ដល់បរិស្ថានដែរ
Solar power on this scale might not be the answer to Cambodia's future energy needs alone, but other renewable and energy-efficient sources of power are also on trial around the country. They include gas-producing biodigesters, fuel-efficient cooking stoves, and solar water pumps. Together, they are having an impact and are helping Cambodians to mitigate climate change effects. One thing is for sure, how climate change ultimately affects Cambodia and its uniquely vulnerable population is no longer a matter of conjecture. Through the Cambodian Climate Change Strategic Plan, Cambodia is committed to increasing its resilience across a range of possible future climate scenarios. At the same time, it's helping to improve livelihoods, social and economic well-being, and the quality of the environment. The UNDP is actively supporting the country's capacity to address and strengthen its response to climate change. It does this through community-based adaptation initiatives and by its collaboration with the Royal Government of Cambodia and other development partners. These partnerships are ensuring the sustained delivery of programs that help affected communities become more resilient. By adapting to climate change now, Cambodia can reduce its vulnerability to its effects. But it needs long-term financial and institutional support to make sure it's ready for disasters, and the Cambodian people will need continued help to better adapt to the changes they're already experiencing.